Hi guys, and welcome back to the final in our series on performance analysis and giving you guys an insight into what we do here at Lightning. So, final week then, week 4 of the mini series, and a great opportunity today for me to share with you guys exactly what we do on a match by match basis and give you a behind the scenes insight into exactly what goes on up on the balcony behind you during our games. So what I'll do is take you through our full Lightning Matchday setup, right the way from pre-game until after the game and everything's wrapped up. Take you through all the detail of that and show you some insights into what we do every match day. I'll show you all of our working processes, who we have involved in our team, how we feedback, how we deliver in different ways. Some of those obviously you guys saw last week in the third session. I'll share a bit more detail on that with you guys today. And then finally, and really exciting, it'll be an opportunity for me to hand over to you. And it'll be a great opportunity for you guys to put into play the skills that we've gone through over the past few weeks so that you can produce your own post-match analysis. But I'll talk a lot more about that later on after we've been through the content today. So let's talk about pre-match then. We know a little bit about this already from the previous couple of weeks. We'll go in and go through exactly what we do on a match-by-match basis now, starting at the pre-match phase. So, as mentioned before, prior to every single game that we will play with our Super League side, we'll have produced what we call a pre-match pack or pre-match video. And within that pack, it will detail absolutely everything that the players will need to know about the game coming up. So within this video, it will contain information about ourselves and what we need to do, but also it will contain really important information about our opposition and obviously some of that stuff I shared with you in prior sessions. So this is a great way for us to inform our team of what we think is going to happen, why we think that might happen, and really importantly, how we want our team to respond to that. So what we do is we make that available to the players on our WhatsApp group. So I'll send it through to the players before the final training session, before the game coming up on the weekend or Monday, whenever it might be. And that means that the players can watch that at their leisure. Some of them will watch it straight away. Some of them will wait till they get home. Some of them will watch it 3, 4, 5 times to make sure they've got all the information they need. So it just means it's really flexible for the players. They can use it whenever they want to get the information that they need to. What we'll also do then is pre-match in the changing rooms is provide a really concise overview of the key snippets of information that the players need to remember just before they go out onto court. So you'll see in the side of this picture here, left-hand side as I look at it, some of those key reminders. Now, there's 2 ways we do that. The big A3 sheet, as you'll see, is stuff that the coaches will have drawn out, particular plays that we want to enact that day for particular reasons. And then the 2 sheets to the right-hand side are the ones that me and my team will produce, which is the more data heavy and data-based information. And that's everything that was in the pre-match pack, just as a reminder for the players as they go out. So you'll see it there up on the wall. If the eagle-eyed amongst you will see on the extreme right of that picture, there's another copy of it. So we put various copies around the changing room that the players can have a look at any point pre-match. Sometimes pre-match, actually, in fact, in that picture that you've just seen, is we'll also have something called a pre-match motivational movie or motivational package. And what this is myself or one of my team will have clipped up with some current and relevant music that the girls are into at the moment, some of the best bits of our season so far. It might be from training, it might be from particular matches, whatever it is, wherever it's come from. And the idea is to give the girls a bit of a psychological boost before they go out on court, having shown them some of what we can do and the really great stuff that we do. We don't use that all the time, but we use it for certain matches, for certain reasons, to make sure that the girls are ready to go for that particular game. Okay, so moving on to matchday staff then and the people that work with me and my team. On a Super League match day, we will have a minimum of 3 analysts working. Now, that applies for any game, whether it's pre-season, home, away, semi-final, final, whatever it might be. We'll have 3 people there for every single game. Each of those people will have particular roles that are needed to fulfill throughout the match. So the first and arguably the most important role is to film and record the video footage, the game footage as it happens. The basis of everything we do, as we learned a little while ago, comes from video and the ability to capture the video first that we can then do our coding from. So the first PA's job is really important to get high quality video footage set up, sets the basis for everything else that we do. PAs 2 and PAs 3 are then the coders. We learned all about coding in previous weeks, so you guys know exactly what that is. And in our setup, we will have 2 people. So we'll have 2 MacBooks. So everything we do is based on MacBooks with our Hudl products. 2 coders behind those. Sometimes we'll also use these, and we'll also use our phones to do some additional coding as well, depending on the setup we've got on the day and what tech we've got available to us. But we'll have 2 people coding 2 different things. One person usually codes what I call the typical stuff. So that's center pass, restart, live for both ourselves and our opposition, and the outcomes of all that alongside the shooting. And then the second coder will do the things around feeds, phase 1 and 2, so more of the detailed stuff that takes real concentration, as do all 3 of these roles to fulfill. So, like we said, it's the responsibility of these people to provide all of the live match analysis that we require. I can't work without my team, and every single game that we have, we've got a rota in place that 3 of us will be there as an absolute minimum to provide the live match analysis. Sometimes, if we're lucky, we'll also have a coach with us. So if we've got maybe 4 coaches for a particular match, then sometimes that coach, that extra coach, will be up with me and my team on the balcony. Great view from up there. You can see the game in a different way to what you do courtside. So sometimes that 4th coach will be up with us, looking at our data as the game progresses, and it gives us an instant communication method between us and the coaches, which is a great aid to decision making. So on a match day then, we will be there way before any of you guys are. It takes us around about 1 hour to fully set up our kit, to test it's all working. There's a lot of complicated technology involved within our setup. So we test it all every single time. Of course, things go wrong from time to time. We try and minimize those, but that's why we get there nice and early and give ourselves at least an hour before the match starts to get things up and ready. So David Wallace will look like this. For us, it'll be super quiet as we start to get things set up before you guys start to come along and cheer us on a little bit later in the day. Once it is set up, it'll look a little bit like this. So you'll see the 2 MacBooks I was referring to there, and you'll see the one person who's got responsibility for filming, one of our coders, that's Matt just there, Anne's filming this game, and then the other coder might be stood up. They might be on the table just to the left of the shot, as you can see it there. It just depends on what facility we've got available to us to enact that. So as you'll have seen, as I think I've said before, we're usually on that balcony behind you, and that gives us a great wide angle, as we call it, which means we can capture pretty much the whole court at all times. So our general rule of thumb is that as an absolute minimum, there's always going to be 2/3 of the court in view of the camera. That's how we call it wide angle. But where possible, we try and keep all 3 of the thirds in to shot, which gives us everything that's going on. Sometimes, if we can, we might also use what we refer to as an end-on filming location. Now, this is basically, we will be situated with our camera behind one of the posts up high again, so we've got a bird's eye view, and coaches and analysts really like that view because it allows us to see tactical patterns develop more easily through court. It's a slightly different way of looking at the game from that side-on wide angle that I was just talking about, but it does enable us to look at the game in a different way, and it's a great way to view tactics. However, I won't mention the venues, but some of the venues in Super League can be really, really difficult for us to make things happen. So Super League venues, some of the MPL venues we go to, some of the Bucks games we go and cover away as well, can be a real, real challenge for us to get our setup correct. Sometimes it's on a really cramped balcony. If it's a Sky game, we might have Sky literally sat next to us, filming their stuff. It can be a real challenge for me and my team to adapt to what we've got available to us. So with those, away games will typically be at the venue at least 2 hours before the match starts, which gives us plenty of time to get set up and get things ready. So when the match starts, then we do our live coding that we've talked about previously. And as the game progresses, each of my analysts will focus closely in on their exact role. So like we said, those 3 distinct roles that analyst has throughout the game. And it's really important for us that we try and minimize any or all distractions as we are doing that. Because we're coding so much data, so much information, we need to make sure it is as accurate as possible because coaches are making decisions on what we're doing. So if you've ever been up on the balcony or you've ever seen us from down where you guys are in the seats, looking very serious and concentrating, that's because we need to make sure that we get it absolutely spot on. So we're not being rude, we're not ignoring anyone. It's just absolutely imperative that we do stuff right for the coaches and players. Within our team, so within our 3, we will talk to each other. If someone's maybe missed something or they've spotted another coder has missed something, we can give them a little nudge and make sure they add it in. If there's a mistake made, we can again tell them just to make sure that things are up to date and those mistakes are kept at a minimum. So it is really important that we have good communication between the 3 of us that are there on the day to make sure everything runs smoothly. Now, the technology that we have from Huddle, so the software company who we're very lucky to have a great partnership with, allows us to live stream video to the bench and also live statistical information. Now, as we mentioned in previous weeks, this is great because it means that our coaches and players can see things as the match is developing, which is a fantastic tool we have available to us. We also have a radio link to one of the coaches on the bench. So I might have an earpiece in my ear. It will then be connected, the other end of that radio will be connected to one of the coaches on the bench, so I can talk directly to that person throughout the game and relay some of the information to them. So you'll see in this picture, this is sort of a summary of our technology, if you like. The 2 MacBooks in the background. One of our iPads, we have 2 on a match day. One of them that has the stats on, the other one will have the live video on, and then you can see the radio in the corner as well that we'll have on us. So if you've ever seen me walking around on a match day with a radio in my ear, then it's usually one of the coaches, the assistant coaches on the bench, who will have me talking away to them throughout the game with some information. So as the match is progressing then, because we're producing lots of information, we need to feed that back effectively to the coaches and players. And the most important thing that we need to do, as I think I mentioned in a previous session, is to not overload information to the coaches and players. You guys know by now how much information we can produce and the sheer volume of things that we can code and those performance questions we can answer. And there's no way we should be delivering every single piece of information back live during the match. It's just too much, and it's probably going to confuse things rather than make things better. So we have to make sure we only provide the real pertinent information that might make a difference to the outcome of the game. Either way, even when we've drilled it down to those pertinent pieces of information, it's up to the coaches and players to use it or not. And that is completely their choice. We don't force it upon them. That's not our role. We're there to supplement information and provide extra information on top of their expertise that they have already got. So if they choose to act on it, that's brilliant, that's fantastic. But if they don't, that's okay, because it's more than likely that they'll look at it in more detail after the game. So it's there as an aid to coaches. It's not designed to replace them or force them into using our data. as I've said there. So yeah, coaches remain the experts. Performance analysis is supplementary information. And remember, PA is all about objectivity. So whereas coaches are usually reliant on subjective opinions, coaches can use objective data from us, pass that on to the players. That means they're factual decisions and factual information that's being passed across. So a blend of the two is a great way to do it. Another great way we can feedback during the match is at half time. So we've got the technology to go into the changing rooms and to provide additional feedback and show some live video clips to the players at half time. So if Sarah is doing her team talk, one of us can be there with one of our laptops and a projector screen to show the players some live clips from the first half of the match that Sarah maybe wants them to look at. So one of the conversations I will have through the radio with the coaches is if I spotted something I think the players need to look at, is I can say to Sarah, do you want them to look at this? Yeah, great. Okay, I'll bring my laptop down and we can show them it, and hopefully that'll be an aid to their learning. So there's the picture. I think I showed you guys this one before, but just what it looks like for in-match feedback on the bench. So the two iPads, one with the stats, one with the video, and great way for us to feedback information live to coaches and players. So the match is finished. Hopefully we've won. It's been a positive result, and we need to start doing some immediate post-match feedback. So literally as soon as the game ends, within a couple of seconds, we have stopped our recording, we've stopped coding obviously, and we're straight to work on what we need to do. Now the first thing we will do is rectify any minor mistakes in the coding that have happened throughout the game. So if someone does make an error in the coding, perfectly okay, perfectly normal thing to happen. They'll have noted down when that happened, what happened during the game, and they'll go back and rectify that mistake straight away, just to ensure that everything is 100% accurate throughout the game. Now, before the players have finished their cooldown, so you know they'll stay on court probably for about half an hour, doing their cooldown, chatting to coaches, looking at some footage maybe on the iPad. But before they finish that, before they've got back to the changing rooms, everything will already be uploaded for them onto Hudl. So the match video will be on Hudl within about 30 minutes, an hour max, so that the players have got access to it straight away to start doing their own post-match feedback. In addition to that, as soon as those mistakes, if there are any, have been rectified and everything is 100% accurate, then our stat sheets will be passed through our WhatsApp group again, so that the players have got stuff instantly, and they can start to look at the data from that game to get a bit of an idea of objectively how the game went. Now, speed can be a real key thing for some players. So some players will want this information straight away, as we can do for them, because they want to maybe check something they did in the game, or they had a feeling that they didn't perform so well today. They want to check if they did or not from the data. So us being able to provide that to them within half an hour of the game finishing is brilliant, because it allows them to do that. And it then means that coaches can have conversations with them using the data. So it's very common for the coaches to ask me for something extra, or to ask me when is the data going to be available, so that when they're having their chats on court straight away after the game or in the changing rooms, they can do so with the data and make those conversations more objective in nature. After that then, so game finishes, we've done that immediate feedback. Within 24 hours, Matt, one of our analysts, will start to put together the individual statistics that I showed you a few weeks ago on a touch-by-touch basis. A lot of the coding is already done from what we do live, but Matt will go over the game again another time and literally do every single touch by every single player to generate those individual statistics that we looked at a couple of weeks ago. So Matt does a fantastic job on this. It's not an easy one to do, given the pace and the speed of netball. You can imagine how hard that can be to compute, but a great job and a really important job that helps us to get to a point where we've got all this information together. Matt will also then add this to our database information, and one of our other analysts, Andrew, will then come in using his skills as a data analyst, so that's his key role, database all the information together, which gives us that longitudinal analysis over a number of months, games, years even, which really informs our planning for long term, but also helps with our post-match feedback as well. So lots of people involved with the post-match feedback. Usually on a Monday, sometimes a Tuesday, we will then provide a post-match video pack to our players. Now within this, we'll highlight the key data again. We'll have picked out some key video clips alongside the coaches and really start to make sure we've got the messages that the players need to take away from the game nice and clear so they can learn from it and move on for the next time we play whatever game that might be. We'll also help to do the player-led PA tasks. So this is a session we did pre-training a couple of weeks ago. I think actually this was the Wasps pre-season game again, where post the game, the next training session, players come in. We've got a laptop set up for the different groups. So the defenders will have one, the mid-court and the attack will have a laptop each. They'll have access to all the data, the post-match video, everything will be available to them as soon as they come into the room. And we then ask them to look through particular clips that we and the coaches have pulled out together to develop and aid their own learning. And it's a great way for the players to take a bit of responsibility for learning themselves and responsibility for their performance. And then the cycle starts again. So the players will then go and train, and that next training session will be based on our upcoming opposition, which is obviously when we start to do our whole processes again and start to put into play everything again for the next game that we're about to face, or the next opponent we're about to face, whoever that might be. So in summary for this bit, and then I'll talk about where you guys come in. Most of our analysis is done live, so we'll set up nice and early, get things ready, and between the three analysts that are there on the day, we'll provide key information snippets where necessary to coaches and players to inform their decision making. Post-match, you'll see us go into that real intricate and detailed analysis, so that touch-by-touch analysis that lets us know exactly how well each player performed. Really good for coaches to know that, really, really good for players to know that, so that they can be responsible for their own performance and know which areas they need to develop more in. And the data that we can produce can allow that to happen. And then we will deliver this feedback in a variety of ways. So I think it was week 3 session, we went through the feedback mechanisms. So player-led tasks, a post-match video, I might deliver something back, the coaches might deliver something back. Whichever way it is we choose to deliver back, we want to make sure that the players have understood the key messages that they need to know from that game. And that's our job, is to, as I refer to it, land the message with the players. So they know exactly what to improve and what to change next time. And like I said, after that, we start again. So we start to create the insights for our next performance straight away again. We never really stop throughout the season. So it's a constant ongoing process where there's always analysis going on for our upcoming opposition to give our teams the best chance possible of winning. Okay, so this is the exciting bit for me, is where I get to hand over to you guys for you to have a go at some analysis and see what you can come up with. So over the past 4 sessions, you've had loads of information on what PA is, what to code, how to choose those questions, how to do it, how to feed it back. So you've got everything you need to have a go at analysing one of our games yourselves. So we are going to give you free full access to our pre-season game against Wasps from this season. And what we are asking you to do is use the last 4 weeks worth of content and the stuff that you guys have learned to produce a post-match summary of that game. Now you will plan that, so you will think about what key questions is it that you want to answer. So you'll remember that from week 1, that the basis of all analysis is, what do I want to know? So that's what you need to be doing first. So you'll plan it out. You'll then code the game up using the footage that we'll give to you. And then you'll have fed back information to us. And I'll talk about exactly how I'd like you guys to do that in just a sec. I just mentioned this, but no harm in reinforcing it, is don't forget these key questions that you're trying to answer. So it might be that you solely want to focus on one key question, and that's absolutely fine. Okay, if that's a pivotal question you think we need answering, please let us know that, and please focus in really closely with your coding and your feedback information on that. You might have 3, 4, 5, 10, however many questions it is you want to try and answer for us. That's fantastic. We'd love to hear from you guys of what you think we need to know from this game. I'd really encourage you guys to think about who you want to do this with. If you want to do it on your own, fantastic. That would be great to see some individual analysis come through. You might want to do it with your family members, your friends, people you play in a club with, or if you're one of our academy athletes. I know some of you guys have been watching in on this. You might want to do it with others within your academy squad. Brilliant, okay? Whoever you do it with, whether you do it on your own or in a group, please do that. It would be fantastic to see loads and loads of analysis coming through from this game. So in terms of the logistics on this then, there's a link here where you guys have found all these sessions before through our website. The footage for the Wasps game is going to be uploaded there for you. So you'll see a download link where you can download the footage from onto your laptop, and then you can start to do it from there. We've taken the sound out from the game, so it will just be silent. So unfortunately, you won't get the umpires' whistles, etc. But you guys know netball well enough, and you'll be absolutely fine to know when the stops in play and the passages in play are. So we talked about how to code a little while ago. You could choose to code by hand, so hand notation using a good old pen and paper, which is where PA started. Or if you've done it already, or if you have or haven't done it already rather, download one of the apps and programs that I discussed in week 3, and you could give it a go using some of the technology that's available in the performance analysis world. Key thing, wherever you do it, whatever you do it on, make sure you store it nice and safely. I've had some horror stories over the years where my laptop's crashed or I've lost the piece of paper I'd written some analysis on. So just make sure you keep it nice and safe, all that valuable analysis you guys are doing. So in terms of the format of your feedback, I'm going to ask that you guys limit your feedback to a single page or a single slide summary of what you found from the game. Now that might be quite a challenge if you've got a number of performance questions you want to answer, but the reason why I'm giving you this challenge is because you'll remember how important I said it was to get your information down to the absolute vital pieces that you need to feed back to the team. So one page, everything you think we need to know, those key messages, has to be contained within that one page. As you've only got one page, make sure it is those critical messages that we said about, but don't end up putting the text so small because you've got so much information you want to get in there, okay? Really think about answering that question that you set with absolutely pertinent information. So only the most important things I need on that slide. If you'd like to clip up some video as part of it and you'd like to do a multimedia feedback, that's absolutely fine. Please do that. What you'll need for that is to clip the part of the game you want to show us back, or there might be a couple of clips you want to show us. Perfect. So you'll need to clip those. If you're using Longomat, you can do that. If you're in some of the apps, you can do that. One of the easiest ways is to use QuickTime Player or Windows Movie Maker if you're on a Windows PC. Both of those programs, standard software on a Mac or a PC, will allow you to clip and crop video that you could then embed within your slide summary around the text or the graphics that you'll be putting in. On that, use a blend. So use some video if you want to, use a screenshot of something, use some data, make some graphs, give us some percentages. Please use your innovation and creativity to provide us with this feedback. So in terms of where to send it, please send me through directly your completed work. So my email address is there, abanalytics@outlook.com. Please send it directly through to myself. Please, within that email, let me know who you are. So if you completed it on your own, just let me know that. If it's part of a group or a club or whatever it might be, please just let me know who was involved in the creation of the analysis, and also let me know what were the key questions you were trying to answer through your analysis. We're going to set a little bit of a deadline for this. So 10th of July at 5 p.m. It needs to have landed in my inbox by that time. So that gives you a couple of weeks to get everything done, get your feedback done as well, and then send it through to me. If you do have any problems in sending those files through to me, because some of them might end up being quite large files, please just drop me an email first, just to let me know if you are having any trouble, and I'll let you know other ways that you can send it through to me. For every single piece of analysis that comes through to me, I will provide all of you a short summary and my professional feedback on your work. I think it's really important that I do that to let you guys know how good your analysis is, where it could be improved, areas that weren't so great that I think you could make better. So every single piece, my promise to you is every single piece that successfully lands in my inbox, within a couple of weeks after that, I will send you guys through some personalized feedback directly to you and your group, or you're in just yourself if you've done it as an individual. Overall, from all of the entries that we get in, me and my team will judge the top 3. Okay, and we will then share those examples on our social media channels. If you'd rather we didn't share your output, please let me know that in the email when you send it through to me. It's not a problem if you don't, but obviously we'd love to share the great work that you guys have done if you're okay with that. So a top 3 we'll judge, and then we'll promote on our social media channels. We'll also have an overall winner. So we'll have one that me and my team judges the best overall piece of analysis that's been done. And we're going to get our hands on some Lightning goodies for those people, and we'll arrange to get those to you when we can. Guys, thank you. I've really enjoyed doing these sessions. These 4 sessions have been absolutely brilliant, and it's been a fantastic experience for me to share some of what we do here at Lightning with you guys. I really genuinely hope that it's helped you. I hope that it's provided some kind of insight into what PA is, what we do at Lightning, and how we use it. And I really hope it's given you a bit of inspiration for how you can analyze your own netball games in whatever setting it is you're playing. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you very much for those of you who have sent questions and messages through to me directly after sessions to engage in PA some more. It's been brilliant to see. So yeah, just thank you again. I really do hope it's helped you guys. And as and when we do get back on court in Loughborough again, when the next season starts, please do come and say hello to me, introduce yourself. It'll be great to hear about how you've used some of this PA in your own setting going forwards as netballers. Guys, stay safe. Thanks ever so much again, and I'll hope to meet some of you guys in the very, very soon future. Take care. Bye-bye.